Hi everyone, welcome back to Quirky Pineapples. If you're new here, I'm Vina, a plant-based recipe developer and food blogger, and you guys are joining me again today for a meal prep session. I thought that it would be helpful to continue to show you guys how I meal prep. I do meal prep a little different from what would probably be considered the traditional way. Um, I usually like to prep a few lunches and dinners, and then maybe a couple of breakfasts, and then a smoothie. Now, this week, I am still not quite sure if I want to do a smoothie or not. We might do one, but I'm not doing a savory breakfast this week because I found that last week, our savory breakfast, even though we got through it, I felt like it was kind of difficult for both of us to sort of get through that much food. And so I'm going to pare it down just a little bit. So I think going forward, I'll do either a savory or a sweet breakfast instead of one of each. But yeah, I'm not totally sure if I'm going to do a smoothie because I do have a sweet breakfast that is planned. But ever so often, we get in the mood for a nice smoothie, and not even always in the morning, but sometimes in the afternoon or even in the evening if we just want something like kind of cool and refreshing that's still going to be a little bit healthy. I always have some sort of smoothie fixings in my freezer and I've always got like orange juice or coconut water. So I might add a smoothie in, but I'm not committed to it. But yeah, so this week, our breakfast is going to be, let's see, I've got it here. Our breakfast is going to be a mango chia yogurt parfait. I think last week I did a dragon fruit version of this. We really enjoyed it. Especially since when it comes to vegan yogurts and non-dairy yogurts, you pretty much only have a few flavors to pick from. And I kind of miss having the type of yogurts that have like the fruit on the bottom. So I've been making my own fruit on the bottom type yogurts. But this week it's going to be mango. And actually, I think I might make it a mango peach, where I puree some mango and peach to go into the yogurt, and it'll be topped with granola throughout the week, but of course on the day of so that it still stays fresh. And then for lunches and dinners, I like to prep 3 different things so that we can alternate between them. So this week it's a green curry tofu, which I haven't made in a little while and I've been wanting to make it. A spicy gochujang salad that's going to be full of like greens and some herbs and all that good stuff. And I'm going to make a gochujang dressing to go with it. And a harissa chickpea and tzatziki flatbread, which I'm getting from So Vegan. They make such vibrant and colorful, delicious looking recipes. And I've been wanting to try one of their recipes, and this one really stood out to me. It seemed like a really good lunch option. So I'm going to do that one. I might change up some of the ingredients, which I do whenever I borrow a recipe from someone else, is I kind of make it my own. So I might add a few little extra touches to that. But yeah, so we're going to go with that. So I think what I love about this particular meal prep is that it's going to be really kind of colorful, vibrant, fresh. I feel like it's perfect for the spring because it's kind of getting warm out. Salads are kind of the vibe. Yogurt is kind of the vibe right now. But then it's like if you want something warm to just kind of, toss in the microwave throughout the week, then we'll go with the curry, which I think will be really good. So yeah, colorful, kind of fun, fresh. I'm really excited about it. I think I said that last week too. I've been having a little fun with figuring out what type of meal prep works best in my home. And so, because it's just the two of us, this seems to be the best way that it works. And we got through pretty much almost everything. I would say we got through about 98% of everything. I think once we got to the end of the week, we had just a little bit left, and we were a little nervous about whether it was still going to be good or not. And of course, we try to be really mindful about our food waste. So this time I'm paring it down so that we're not overdoing it on too much food being available. But yeah, I'm really excited. I would consider these meals to be healthy as well. That green curry tofu is kind of like nice and anti-inflammatory. I'm giving my black rice a try again. The last time I made it, it didn't turn out so great, but I'm going to try it again and we're going to see how it works. Because I think the black rice would probably be best with that green Thai curry. So yeah, all right, let's get started. We're going to get chopping. I'm probably going to start on my proteins maybe. We'll see how the mood goes. So I've got my iced coffee behind me so that I have a little bit of energy, and I'm going to throw on my headphones. This time, I think you guys noticed I was dancing around a little bit. I was listening to music. I think I'm going to start out with a podcast. I love listening to the We're Your Girls podcast. I can't remember their names, but I'll put it up on the screen for you guys, because listening to them kiki about different subjects, it's hilarious and it's just so much fun to listen to. And so I'm going to listen to them, and then I might switch over to a little bit of music, just so I can lock in. So you'll notice I'm a little bit more relaxed because it takes a little while to do this. And so if you're meal prepping too today, then maybe you can, have me playing in the background while you meal prep. We can listen to our podcast, listen to our music. Because I know sometimes one of the things that stops us from meal prepping and preparing ourselves for the week is that it can feel really boring and it can feel really daunting. But I personally think that it can be fun if you like for example, I have my partner, I have husbandtron, who, if I'm not on camera, obviously he'd be in the kitchen with me helping me do this, and it's done in like half the time. But it's somebody to talk to joke with. So if you've got like kids, you can have them help you out with certain things and kind of laugh and have conversation. Or if it's just you put on your favorite podcast, or you put on your favorite songs, like a meal prep playlist or an audiobook or something like that, and you just kind of lock in and enjoy it. And then that way that your future self, when you get home from work on Monday or Tuesday, is going to be really happy that you did it. And so make it fun, make it enjoyable. It's just, like I said, it's a really good way to keep us from wasting food, eating a little healthier, and kind of avoiding, spending more money than we might want to on takeout and things because we're not prepared through the week. But yeah, all right, I'm done talking. I'm done rambling. Let's get started. All right, so I'm starting out by cubing both blocks of my tofu. One block I'm going to cube slightly smaller than the other. And as I'm watching this, I'm realizing that I am totally overthinking how perfect my cubes are. I don't know why I do this. And sometimes I just tear my tofu. So of course, if you just want to tear your tofu into chunks, then you can do that. I actually like that method when I want crispy tofu. All right, so I'm going to toss the cubed tofu into an airtight dish, and I'm going to drizzle it with some soy sauce and some rice vinegar. This allows it to soak up some flavors and marinate for a little while, because that will be the main flavor in the smaller cubes, because these are going to be added to my gochujang salad. So I'm just going to give this a nice light shake so that everything's coated, and then I'm going to sit it off to the side to marinate for about an hour. With my other tofu block, I'm going to do the exact same thing, except like I said, I'm going to do larger cubes, and I'm just going to sit this off to the side until my dish is available again, because I don't want to use too many of my sealable containers. All right, and then we're jumping over to my red bell pepper. This is going to be used in my green curry tofu dish. And so I'm just going to cut these up into nice thin slices so that they are ready to go when it is time for cooking. All right, now I'm moving on to my Japanese sweet potato. I'm only cutting up one here, but I realized when I was making my salad that I definitely needed two, because the Japanese sweet potato just adds so much to the salad. So as you can see, I'm drizzling on some olive oil and just some sea salt. Don't want to add too much flavor, just enough, because a lot of the flavor is going to come from the other elements of the salad. All right, now that my tofu has been marinating for a little while, I'm going to drizzle it with some olive oil and some cornstarch, so that it can become nice and crispy in the oven when I bake it. And again, we're going to give it a nice shake, 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 as we always do, before I put it on a lined baking sheet. And I'm going to bake this in the oven for about 25 minutes on 450 degrees Fahrenheit. The same thing with my Japanese sweet potato. Usually I'll just go ahead and put this in the oven at the same time and just keep an eye on it. I'll probably pull the sweet potatoes out maybe about 5 minutes earlier, or sometimes I'll turn the heat off in the oven so that things can stop cooking. Okay, now on to that second batch of tofu. Like I said, I'm going to do pretty much the exact same thing with this tofu. I'm going to let it sit and marinate for a little bit in that soy sauce and rice vinegar, and then give it a shake and then let it sit. Alright, on to getting started on what I think will probably be the easiest dish, and that is the harissa chickpeas that are going to go on the flatbreads. And so I just have about 2 cans of chickpeas here, and I'm going to allow these to crisp up for a little while before adding in my other seasonings. Like I said, this particular recipe is from So Vegan. I absolutely love their recipes, and so I'll be sure to make sure that I link the recipe down below. Right, so once those chickpeas start to crisp up, I'm going to go ahead and add in the harissa paste and the maple syrup. I also, to add a little extra flavor, added in some salt, of course, and I added in a little bit of cumin, which you might not have seen, but I did add it. And so I'm just going to let these cook down for a little bit, and like I said, it doesn't take very long, which is kind of nice. And then I'm going to move them out of the way so that I can jump over to my green Thai curry. So I've just got some oil heating in the pan. I'm going to throw in those red bell peppers and let those saute a little bit before adding in my ginger and garlic. And so if you remember from the last video, we used some frozen ginger and garlic just to save ourselves some chop time. And then I'm going to add in that green curry paste and sort of let everything bloom before adding in the coconut milk and bringing that up to a simmer. Now I'm going to add in some soy sauce, and I'm going to add in my broccoli so that the broccoli can cook along with that baked tofu. And then this is going to simmer for a little while so that the tofu can soak up all that delicious green curry flavor, and so that the broccoli, of course, can finish cooking. But before I put it on the stove behind me to finish simmering off, I almost forgot to add in my agave and my lime to brighten up those flavors. Okay, so I might have fibbed a little bit because the rice is actually the easiest thing to cook. I'm just going to cook the black rice according to package instructions in the rice cooker. So now we're moving on to some easier things, our sauces. So I'm making the tzatziki sauce. So I'm starting out by grating some cucumber and squeezing the excess liquid out of it. This was actually kind of fun to do. But yes, so squeezing that excess liquid out because we don't want our tzatziki sauce to be watery. And then I'm going to add some plain cashew-based yogurt. You can use any type of yogurt that you please. And then I'm going to use about half a lemon. I realized really quickly that I don't need all that much lemon juice. I did add a little bit more later, but of course just add it to taste. And then a little bit of garlic. After I've stirred it a little bit, I do give it a little taste and see if it needs a little bit of salt and pepper. And then I'm going to store this in the fridge. Okay, now moving on to my spicy gochujang dressing. So to a blender, I'm just adding some soaked cashews, some water, some gochujang paste. You can add as little or as much as you can handle. Then I'm adding in some soy sauce, some garlic, sesame oil, and some rice vinegar. And then I'm going to give this a blend until it is nice and smooth and creamy. If you need it to be thinner, just add a little more water, and then you get this vibrant dressing. Alright, so moving on to my peach mango yogurt parfaits. I'm just going to blend up some frozen mango and peaches. They're just slightly thawed so that they can blend easier. And because of that mango, it's going to get nice and creamy. Alright, once it's nice and blended, I'm going to mix up my yogurt by just adding some chia seeds and some sweetener. Sometimes I'll use maple syrup, sometimes I use agave. It just depends on how I'm feeling, but I try not to add too much because the pureed fruit will add a pretty good amount of sweetness. Then I just add them to my airtight jars. I'll usually spread my mango puree or my fruit puree so it's a little flat on the bottom, and then add in my chia yogurt. And then of course I don't add any of my granola until I'm ready to eat it so that the granola stays nice and crunchy. But these store in the fridge pretty well for like 2 to 3 days, and they're just great to grab in the morning for breakfast. Alrighty, so I am all done meal prepping. I've got all of my fixins that needed preparing ahead of time. So I've got my harissa chickpeas that are for wraps, and then to go with that are some pickled radishes and some tzatziki sauce. And then I have my green Thai curry, which hopefully you guys can see. Up a little bit, my green Thai curry. So I have my green Thai curry with broccoli and tofu inside, and all that's going to happen is that sauce will thicken a little bit more over time. So as the days pass, and then my tofu is going to suck up even more of the flavor from the curry. And then I have some black rice to go along with that. I also have some baked tofu to go on my salad, along with some baked Japanese sweet potato, mostly because this is kind of like my obsession starch right now. It's really delicious. I feel like it tastes like pieces of cake. But I'm going to be having a salad. So in the fridge, I have things like some cilantro and green onion. I have some frozen edamame, which isn't going to take any time to prepare. And then I have some kale and sort of a salad mix to mix together. And then for the salad, I also have a gochujang dressing. It's not super spicy. I really like it. I kind of omitted a few things from the actual recipe that I got it from. I think it originally called for ginger, but I'll make sure I link it in the description as well. And then I have my chia pudding jars. I decided to do a mango peach, not chia pudding, but yogurt chia pudding with some peach mango puree. And then I'm going to be adding things like maybe some more nuts and seeds and some granola throughout the week. So there we go. We've got everything that we need. Fridge is stocked. We've even got our pickled onions, which I think I might use the pickled onions for either the wraps or to even add a little bit of tang to the salads. But I've got 3 meals here that I can interchange between lunch and dinner. And then right now we're keeping breakfast kind of light, and we're gonna go with this. Obviously, if I feel like I need a little bit more protein, then I'll just make sure, like, I might add a little extra tofu to my salad or something like that throughout the week. But yeah, so I'm going to show you guys a few clips of how I use my meal prep and how I prepare some meals throughout the rest of the week, how I do my lunches and how I do my dinner when everything's all built. Of course, when we were ready to have our peach mango parfaits, we just added some granola when it was time to eat. The green curry tofu was absolutely delicious with the black rice. The harissa tzatziki flatbread was also really good and easy to fix up. And then for the salad, I'll show you how I built that. I massaged some kale, added in some just some regular salad greens, some carrots, cucumbers, and those delicious Japanese sweet potatoes, and of course the tofu. Before I put those on, I just crisped them up in the pan again so they could taste fresher. And then of course that delicious spicy gochujang dressing, and then just topped it off with some green onions, some cilantro, crispy fried onions, and a little bit of bagel seasoning. It was chef's kiss. Alrighty, so I hope you found this meal prep video to be helpful. All of the recipes will be linked in the description below. Also, if you are new to your plant-based journey, I do have a free plant-based grocery guide that lists all kinds of really great condiments, sauces, fruits, vegetables, all the good stuff to make things easy, along with a meal planner template, as well as some really important information on where to get your calcium and your protein and your iron and all of that good stuff when you are on a plant-based journey like I am. And so I'll make sure to link that in the description box below. I may even put my QR code here for you. And I really hope that this helps you out as you are planning for the week. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me again, and I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.